Good afternoon, and thank you for being here today as we reflect on 91 years of history of the Kiwanis Club of Bradenton. You'll see some pictures on the screens that are reflective of the contributions made to this community through Kiwanis service. I'd also like to share with you that we would like to continue building this presentation, and so anyone who has pictures of these landmark institutions and events that have been part of our club, please share those so we can scan them and incorporate them into the presentation. At the same time, we would like to dedicate this program to those who left their mark on this community as members of this club. And as we go through and you'll hear the names, you'll look around, you'll see some family members here today of those that are very integrally part of how this community got to where we are as a community, and not to mention the impact and influence on this club. So we thank you very much for that. On August 22nd, 1922, the Manatee River Kiwanis Club was chartered. History reads that it was an impressive ceremony at the Bradenton Women's Club. The Kiwanis Club first president was W.A. Manning. The regular Tuesday luncheon started soon thereafter. The first president, W.A. Manning presided at that first inaugural meeting, and the first president was Kick Talent. He served 2 terms. The first Ladies' Night was held in December of 1922. The Kiwanis Club sponsored a conference in Bradenton between Bradenton and Arcadia Kiwanians and the Manatee and DeSoto County Commissioners to plan for the construction of what became Highway 70. And if you were in my age, you remember when Highway 70 was a dirt road. You turned south to go to the hayfield. The Bradenton Kiwanians journeyed to Camp Flying Eagle to build 3 cabins. This is also a little bit funny because many of us as members live out right by Camp Flying Eagle. Some notable club projects that happened in the community in that time was the Memorial Pier. The local business people put up the money to build the pier, and then paid the city back later on because of the need for that pier to bring local businesses to our community. The Green Bridge was under construction at that time. The Tamiami Trail from Fort Myers to Miami had been completed. The road had been under construction since 1916. In the 1930s, brought the regular directors' meetings to the Kiwanis Club of Bradenton under the leadership of then President Bob Bell. The club's big project that year was the Health Summer Camp. The economic conditions continued to be bad, and then in 1934, our club is described, reflected that it was the worst year the club had ever had, as members were just trying to get by. In 1935, the Manatee Chamber of Commerce appealed to the city of Bradenton to build a trailer park as a tourist attraction and to get more money into the town. The city was unable to undertake this at that time and turned the chamber down. The Kiwanis Club, with John Henry Logan as the president and with Bob Bell as trailer park chairman, undertook the project, and only preliminary planning was done during that very first year. Then in 1936, the club started rolling on the trailer park. The land was leased from the city for 1/4 of the net profits. The merchants and businessmen then advanced about $13,000, and spaces were provided for 200 trailers. Kiwani and George Morrill loaned the club another $4,000 to be able to complete the project. Within several years, all the monies had been repaid, and the land was purchased from the city. Bob Bell was appointed the chairman of the Trailer Park Committee, and Bobby Berlier became park manager. The first space rented for $1.50 per week. Each year, improvements were made to the travel trailer park, and the debt was reduced. In 1943, the club finished paying for the trailer park, and the mortgage was burned. In 1953, the club makes the move to Kiwanis Hall. The 1960s brought lots of change. The revenues from the trailer park were recorded as being over $100,000. History indicates that at one time there were over 1,000 travel trailers in the park. In 1961, the city condemned many of the buildings, and the park was deemed unsafe, probably in part due to the fire safety concerns as the the trailers were really packed in there. Plans for a new auditorium, shuffleboard courts, bleachers, and renovations for the trailer park were initiated. The first phase of remodeling of the trailer park was completed and the debt was paid in full. The Bradenton Kiwanis Trailer Park, at this time, it had 596 lots. The monthly rent was between $178 and $199 per month. It was restricted to age 55 and up, no pets, and no pool. In 1997, the Kiwanis Club sold the Bradenton Trailer Park to Park residents for $8.8 million. In 2006, the club floated the idea of relocation. Enthusiasm waned, and the hall was renovated. In 2012, the membership voted to invest in the new Performing Arts Center under construction near the Manatee River. In 2013, the club entered into an agreement to sell the 14th Street property after 60 years. At this time, I would like to ask all of our past presidents in the room if you would just please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Just got a couple other slides of past presidents' photos. These are on the wall in the back of the auditorium. And now Bob Sweat will come and share the history of service and philanthropy to our community through the Kiwanis Club of Bradenton and the Kiwanis Club of Bradenton Foundation.
Thank you, Brenda. It is so good to see this room full of visitors and Kiwanians today. It has been less than this in past weeks and past months, but I think with the change, hopefully we're going to fill the room again. I'm humbled today to be able to go over the history. I've been here almost 32 years as a member of this club, and I've seen things change, and some of the greater ones that had a part in fulfilling the dreams of Kiwanis are no longer with us, but they'll never be forgotten. I'm going to start in 1940 and bring you up to the present if I can. In 1940, all of the Western Europe powers fell to Germany. December 7th, 1941, local residents got the news of Pearl Harbor over the radio after Sunday dinner. Bradenton's first casualty was sailor Bragger Watson, killed in the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. The club purchased $10,000 in war bonds. The Key Club was founded at Bradenton High. Manatee, Sarasota counties got together and decided to build a new airport in the vicinity of Whitfield Estates, still there today. 7 club members and 12 sons of Kiwanians are in the service. Kiwanis decided to support the Girl Scouts as a program and donated $1,500. In 1945, the Kiwanis Club of Bradenton starts the Boys Club with a budget of $7,500. In 1945, the county's 2 high schools are consolidated into Manatee High School. In 1947, the club celebrates its 25th anniversary. Happiness House is organized, and the DeSoto National Monument is inaugurated on land donated by Kiwanian W.D. Suggs and Dr. L.W. Blake. In 1948, the Manatee Players was organized, and that's where we're fixing to move in. A lot of years in between, but we're fixing to move over there with them now. Also, funding for a new building in Lewis Park for the Garden Club and the Boys Club support. Incidentally, that house is still there over in Lewis Park, for those of you that are familiar with the county. In fact, it's in quite good shape considering the length of time that it's been there. The DeSoto National Memorial was officially dedicated in 1950, and the Boston Braves moved to town for a long and glorious stand. Manatee Veterans Memorial Hospital is started. In 1951, one of the club's biggest projects is the building of the Girl Scout Little House on 17th Avenue. Incidentally, that's still there. If you drive down 17th Avenue, you can see it in all its glory. Proceeds from the trailer park go over $50,000 for the first time, which initiates a major building program for the Boys Club. In 1952, plans began for building the hall and moving out of the tea cozy. Now, the tea cozy is no longer there, and I doubt if any of you in this room, well, there's a couple of you that might know where the tea cozy used to be. '52, plans began building the hall and moving out of the tea cozy. The new boys club gym is finished. The hospital is finished. George Coates starts to work on a club for Anna Maria Island in Palmetto. The biggest local news was the opening of the Sunshine Skyway. How many of you remember that lived here at that time? Good. A few of us that still do. It is said that cars were lined up to be the first ones to go over that bridge, all the way from the entrance to the bridge back to the bridge in Palmetto. I have difficulty imagining that in my head, but that's a lot of cars getting ready to go over that bridge. In the mid-1950s, club projects included building of the new boys club at a cost of $70,000, and the Manatee Kiwanis Club was chartered. In 1958, Bradenton Kiwanis began ringing the bell for the Salvation Army. The Kiwanis Recreation Park was started on land donated by G.P. Smythe. The land is still over there, but that's all that is left of that venture. But it was donated to the club by G.P. Smythe and Bud Reisner. It was noted that the turnout of our members could actually do physical work because they were the ones that built the building on that lot. And that's kind of unusual for our club members. As members built the pavilion, it proved that we did have some workers. The Girl Scout Little House was remodeled and expanded at a cost of $13,000. The 1960s brought new records and a lot of changes. The club received notice from the IRS Bradenton Kiwanis might lose non-tax status because it's running a business. In 1964, Bradenton Kiwanis filed suit against the IRS in federal court in Tampa. Hugh Culverhouse, which is a name that many of you might recognize, was a tax attorney from Jacksonville, was hired to fight the case. The club lost an appeal was filed with the IRS, and finally they compromised on the situation without us losing any status. Club projects included the purchase of land and buildings on 34th Street for the Bayshore branch of the Boys Club. At the end of the decade, IRS questioned Bradenton Kiwanis about the amount of the lease with the trailer park, and we had to pay $36,000 to get out of that mess. In the 1970s, Club News, the Agriculture and Conservation Committee purchased a steer at the county fair for 60 cents a pound. The club honored local baseball star Hal McRae, husband of current member Josina McRae. Drug abuse prevention programs started in the public schools, and Archie Powell introduced the Mystery Man. We don't do that anymore, but that was fun. As part of the Kiwanis Club weekly program, Tampa Mayor Dick Greco speaks at Bradenton Kiwanis meeting. Kiwanis International, Florida District started a program encouraging people to have regular blood pressure checkups. Bradenton Kiwanis sponsors the science fair for Manatee and Sarasota schools. The charitable giving budget for the club moves to the $200,000 mark. All proceeds came from the trailer park. In 1972, the 50th anniversary of our club is celebrated. The first long-range planning committee was appointed for the club, consisting of the past 5 presidents. The first vocational scholarships were also started. In 1977, ground is broken for the first building of the YMCA on land previously purchased for the Boys Club. Major repairs were made to the Boys Club, Girls Club, and Rabonia Daycare Center. Bradenton Kiwanis spent $14,000 for air conditioning and sound system for a 4-H building, but none of you knew that. With the aid of the scholarship money from Bradenton Kiwanis Club, 36 Manatee County students were able to attend college. An additional 13 students attended the Vocational Technical Center through Kiwanis scholarships. Youth for Christ was outfitted with new office equipment. In 1978, Bradenton Kiwanis donates $500,000 seed money for the construction of the new Manatee County Civic Center. In 1979, the first joint meeting was held with the Rotary Club at the University of Florida's Gulf Coast Experimental Station, and the very first Better Manatee Day was held under the leadership of David Bassett. $1,000 was spent on the project. A total of $260,000 was donated to charities, and the club donated 10 acres of land, 5 to the Girls Club and 5 to the YMCA. A total of $34,815 was awarded in scholarships, 45 scholarships to students attending college, and 21 scholarships to the vocational students. in the 1980s saw the Kiwanis International sponsor Project 30, a membership drive focusing on members around the age of 30. Better Manatee Day was expanded to take in more outside organizations. In the mid-1980s, the club's major emphasis project won the statewide Large Club Award for the best project, Sickle Cell Anemia ID. The club's operating budget was in the black. Richard Alberg has presented the Johnny Wilson Memorial Trophy honoring the outstanding club president in Florida. Sterling Hall, former mayor of the city of Bradenton, was inducted into the Tableau of Honor at Kiwanis International Convention. Bradenton Kiwanis sponsored the Sunrise Kiwanis Club, became involved with Special Rider for the Handicapped, youth program, and purchased the Nest Inn Motel on 14th Street for United Way headquarters. Bradenton Kiwanis donated $3,000 to the Manatee County School Board to buy character building kits. In 1986, the club donates $100,000 to the Girls Club, and the first Kiwanis Prayer Breakfast draws over 600 attendees. In 1987, 5,500 people turned out to watch members of the striking Tampa Bay Buccaneers play flag football against a team of Bradenton auto salesmen and law enforcement officers. I bet that was a hoot. The event is organized to raise funds for Valerie Tokinger, daughter of Bradenton police officer Bill Tokinger. Valerie suffered from a rare liver disorder and needed a transplant. Incidentally, in the late 2000s, Valerie Tokinger received a Kiwanis Club of Bradenton College Scholarship. The Bradenton Trailer Park celebrates its 50th anniversary. Kiwanis International ends 72 years of tradition when delegates voted to allow women into the membership of Kiwanis. In the later years of the 1980s, club projects include the Youth Ranch, Startup Fund for Boys Club Foundation are donated, 13th Avenue Youth Center to build bleachers, and funds are donated to Manatee Association of Retarded Citizens for client residents. The club board of directors approved the establishment of the Kiwanis Club of Bradenton Foundation. Manatee High School beats Miami Coral City in the Class 5A State School Football Championship and earns the title as the best big school team in Florida, Manatee High School team of the 80s. Club members Bob Vita, Stan Stevens, and Bill Williams made a presentation to the NCAA. The club was awarded to the host committee for the Amos Alonso Stag Bowl. Donations of $74,750 were given to local students as college scholarships. The club bell ringers raised $6,437.94 for the Salvation Army. Every Child a Swimmer is implemented. Southeast Guide Dogs received $25,000 to build a downtown training center. Main projects continue to address the needs of children. The Manatee County Nursery School doubled in size, and the Kiwanis Club helps to start the Salvation Army and Downtown Daycare Center. The South Florida Museum receives $50,000 for Snooty's new pool. The Bradenton Kiwanis Club joined a statewide effort emphasizing the importance of immunization for young children. The annual charitable budget, this is wonderful, what a hop, $645,000 were given away that year to local groups. In 1993, Dr. Gladys Brannick is the first female accepted in membership. Governor Lawton Childs is the guest speaker at Kiwanis. The IRS audits the Bradenton Kiwanis Club. Bradenton Kiwanis joins Kid Fishing Tournament on the Green Bridge. Better Manatee attracts over 2,000 volunteers. The club contributes $50,000 to Kiwanis International to support the worldwide iodine deficiency campaign. Results of the IRS audit, Bradenton Kiwanis owes no taxes, which was great news to us. On July the 4th, 1996, the Olympic torch passed through Manatee County on its way to the Centennial Olympics in Atlanta. Bradenton Kiwanians, Lou Fowle, and Lou is here today. Stand up, Lou. He was one of the ones that jogged through the streets with a torch. Lou Fowles, Ken Oden, and Jim Clark. Jim Clark was the 1995 Action Club president. We're among the 16 local torchbearers. In 1993, PGA champion Paul Azinger was the speaker of the annual prayer breakfast. In 1997, with the sale of the Bradenton Trailer Park, ended an era. The Kiwanis Club of Bradenton Foundation, Inc. is reorganized, and the corporation will serve as the entity overseeing the operation of the charitable fund for the Kiwanis Club of Bradenton. Kiwanis Club of Bradenton celebrated its 75th anniversary, donated $50,000 for a new blood donor room to the Manatee County Blood Bank, and joined a coalition of businesses to clean up 14th Street. The new century brought the Kiwanis Club of Bradenton the first female president when Juliana Ross was installed as president. The club communications transitioned to electronic newsletters, which had some problems but turned out to be great. And emphasis on international relations became evident as work was initiated with a delegation from the Czech Republic for club expansion. An envoy from Nassau, Bahamas visited the club, and a group of Bradenton Kiwanians participated in a joint project at a Bahamian orphan's home. There was also a club visit from an Italian delegation looking for ways service organizations assisted underprivileged children. The Kiwanis Club of Bradenton Foundation changed from a private foundation to a supporting foundation. Noted speakers included Secretary of State Catherine Harris, General Tommy Franks, and General Jack N. Merritt. Sports personalities Rundy and Tiki Barbara attended the Book Fest at the 13th Avenue Youth Center. Club projects included the annual events like Better Manatee Day, scholarships and contributions to local nonprofits. The club embraced a new project when Christmas in August was introduced in 2011. Hundreds of Manatee County's homeless children were made ready for school, the start of school, with a lot of fun and excitement. In 2012, history was made as Brenda Rogers was elected president, only the second time in the 90-year history of the club that a president served twice. The club membership voted to partner with the Manatee players to move the club's meetings to a new performing arts center. New projects started with Wreaths Across America and Every Child a Swimmer. I'll turn it back over to Brenda. Thank you.
Then in 2013, the club held its first major fundraiser, the Cornhole Classic, to support the back-to-school program for homeless children called Christmas in August. The Kiwanis Club of Bradenton has great speakers, if you toss out today. And when we think about these rooms, we think about all the things that happened here over the 60 years that this was the hall for the Kiwanis Club of Bradenton. Officials probably determined that they were going to run for office. We've had visitors like military personnel, celebrities, professors, specialists, authors, humorists, and a few that we didn't invite back. But many we did. We have a reputation for fun and celebrations in these 91 years. In fact, we'll celebrate anything. Okay. We also have a lot of fun, a fellowship with one another, with our organizations that we sponsor, with our community, and with our fellow Kiwanians and from other clubs in our county. We have fun in service. We eat. We serve. We make a difference. We start new projects. We invest in the future. Today we say goodbye to an old friend. This hallowed hall has played an important role in our community. As we think about the things that have happened here, it's been a location for major business deals, political decisions before the Sunshine Laws, job interviews, marriage counseling, and tremendous community planning for over 60 years. As we go forward, it's still about our town. It's about our community. We will continue to invest in the future, one child at a time. This week, we closed a chapter. We're not closing the book. Next week, that new chapter in our story, that is the Kiwanis Club of Bradenton, begins with an open page. If you're not a member, we ask that you consider joining us to help us make our mark on history as we move forward into this next era of the Kiwanis Club of Bradenton. We thank you for your time today. Well, I'm getting older, so I really like history, and I am really appreciative of what happened here in this building. I think it stands for a lot of business transactions, probably a lot of politics before the Sunshine Laws. And I mean, people were counseled here, probably marriage counsel, job interviews, all kinds of things happened in this room that impacted the history of our town and our community. I think that it's the ending of a chapter, it's not the closing of the book. And so we'll just say stay tuned. The next few years, there's going to be a lot of changes, but it'll still be about service to the community and about Kiwanis being the instrument for that service to occur. Well, growing up here, I remember when Highway 70 was a dirt road. In fact, you would go till the end of the road and turn south, and that was a hayfield where my dad worked sometimes. And so in going through the history of the club, one of the things that I discovered is that Highway 70 was the idea that came about because two Kiwanis clubs, the Arcadia Kiwanis Club and the Bradenton Kiwanis Club, got together, pulled in their elected officials, and decided we needed a connector road. So that was the roots for Highway 70 way back in the early 20s. And so it was those kinds of things that people saw a need and pulled together the resources, whether they be people, influential people, or dollars, or time, and made a difference. And we started out in that way in 1922. Well, the theme of Kiwanis is building a community one child at a time. And scholarships is one of the vehicles that we have for that kind of service. We also do some young children programs. We support sponsored youth through the Kiwanis organization. And all of these are about building the future in our community, which is our children. I think the things that we've always been good at, being a force within the community, being willing to be on the cutting edge of innovation and new ideas, bringing them about, hoping that somebody else will pick them up and take them on so we can move on to something else and bring another worthwhile project into our community. We're very excited about this partnership that we have with the players in the Performing Arts Center. We look at it as a new chapter for our club and the beginning of a new era for the Kiwanis Club of Bradenton. 2005 and 6, when I was president, my first round, we had 10 members who passed away that year. And they were the Archie Powells and the Burt South and Dan McClure, those folks who were really institutional in the club. And I come in here and I think about those folks, and really hope that that they're kind of proud of what we're doing going forward. And I think that's the charge, is that you want to make sure that your piece of history is worthy of those folks that came before and laying that foundation.
Well, it's kind of a passing of the age. We've been here, I've been here for over 30 years in this hall, coming to the meetings, and it's kind of like moving out of a house you grew up in. And I'm kind of sad, really, in a way, because I quite frankly think we should have kept the hall and kept the Kiwanis emblem here. People know Kiwanis as this location, but the powers to be thought it was better if we moved to a new location, so I can adjust. Well, number one, the people that I think of when I think about Kiwanis in the past is people like Archie Powell. He was dedicated to the Salvation Army. He always, he took over every year at Christmas time to raise money for the underprivileged. Ed Price comes to mind. Ed came back to Manatee County after he left the Senate, and he just did wondrous things because he was Ed Price. And he always had an eye for what was happening in Manatee County, what was best for Kiwanis. And those are the people that I will remember, and sadly, they've gone on before us, but they were an integral part of the growth and the community and the money that we gave to different things in the community. I can remember Archie championing the Boys Club, the building of the Boys Club, Christmas tree sales. All of these things, I hope we don't lose that as we move to a new building. Well, it is, and I think we have so many members probably today that don't remember what happened in the past. The little Girl Scout house, the building over the Women's Club now over in Lewis Park, the Boys Club, Happiness House. All of these things were built with money that came from this club that we got from the trailer park. And if somebody needed the scholarships that we started, for the kids that maybe couldn't afford to go to college, We started the scholarships for the VOTEC, one of the first, there's just so much history in this club, and there's no way that we're going to take all of that history with us to a new building. Well, it is for me, because everybody will tell you that I was one of the ones out front saying, don't move, don't move, don't move. But when you lose the battle, then you embrace what's coming and you try to make the best of it, and hopefully we'll grow from that.
Well, it's been, since the 80s that I've been coming to the hall, and some great men and now women have been a part of that historic tradition here in the hall of things that we did here, but more importantly, what we did out in the community, making a difference, helping kids, and it's been a joy. I see the club expanding even more with our new facility at the Performing Arts Center. We're excited about that. I think a lot of members who have kind of slid on attendance now are excited and will be joining in, and certainly our programs, the things with Christmas in August and other elements that we've done in the community are still going along great, and we'll continue to have a focus to improve our foundation and our funding to help the community. As a past president, I've spent a lot of time in places most people don't want to go, back in the closets where a lot of memorabilia has been brought out and put on display today. From part of the wall of the Iron Curtain is on display. Different clubs that have brought things from around the world to give our club in their gift to us. Some of the sound equipment, the facilities in the back, there's a certain aspect that I think all of us will have a great memory of and miss to a degree, but the new facility is going to be so exciting. I think we'll be joyful about that as well.
I am ready for change, and I think change is part of life, and it'll be a move in the right direction. And this club has always gone forward and been a big factor in Manatee County, and I'm proud to be part of it. You do, you have a feeling of that because of I guess nostalgia. It's been a great meeting place. It's just routinely my car seems to come here every Tuesday. Yeah, I mean, coming here is a first-time person, and when you first come, you're just really overwhelmed by the amount of people, not the amount, but the quality of people that this club has always drawn. Oh yeah, I think Kiwanis will always establish and always do that and be part of the good work in Manatee County.